Okay, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming on.
Right, thank you for having me.
Definitely, buddy. So, like, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, I see you do a little bit of everything. You paint, you do music, modeling. Like, what was the first thing that came to you?
Well, I've always been a writer, so like the first thing I think I've always been was like a writer because I was always wanted to jot down my experiences, and I think but I think it all came together different ways. I mean, like I'm an artist, first and foremost, in any aspect that you see it. So I don't know, like why you could. I don't know. I don't like to limit myself to just one particular set of skills. I mean, like I could, but that's not fun. I mean, it is if if that's your thing. But I don't know. I'm too creative to put in a box, and I think like as a creative, you need to allow yourself to be creative in all different mediums and not limit yourself. You know.
Oh my God, yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And I see you got a lot of ink. Like, with which piece do you like most?
The one I'm about to get next, probably. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. They all. I think tattoos are like relationships where you go through phases. Sometimes I hate them, sometimes I love them. So I don't think I have a favorite. You know what I mean? It's just like a different. Every day it's a different conversation. I wake up a different day, and because like you get a tattoo for a reason, or you get it for like whatever, and then like you might hate that lesson that you learned during this day, and then next day you're like, oh my god, I need that lesson right now. So like, you're constantly a state of. So I don't know. Probably the next one I'm gonna get. I was literally just looking at tattoos on Google before you called.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of cyber sigilism? I was
No.
just looking at it.
What is that?
It's so gross. I was sorry to everyone who got. I was like looking at like tattoo ideas, and I go down like rabbit holes of like what like good and bad tattoos are, and I'm down this bad rabbit hole of like these are like tribal tattoos that look like cat scratches. They are so
Oh my
ugly.
God.
I'm sorry to anybody listening to cyber sigilism, but you're an idiot. But these are such ugly tattoos. I'm looking at them right now. I'll send you some pics.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
like they're just so good. Can I send pics in Zoom? Is this a thing? Am I allowed to do
I
this?
have no idea. I never
Oh my
tried
god,
that.
I can. Okay, cool.
Really?
Yeah, I can. I just send it
Oh
in the
my
chat.
God, yes, I say it.
Do you see
Oh
what I
my
mean? It's
God.
so they're like such ugly like tribal
Whoa.
tattoos that like aren't. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Wait. Where's the one that I was like, this is the worst tattoo I've ever seen in my life? And this is what I was looking at today. But I love tattoos. I think tattooing is so interesting. Here, this one. This one is so bad. Oh my god. Tell me this doesn't look like cat scratches. Don't they like wait, look.
Let me see.
Don't they look like cat scratches? Like
Oh
something
my
like something
God.
right?
Yes.
And you're just like I don't know. Some tattoos are real stupid, but that is the dumbest thing. And look, because as you get older, that's obviously a woman, right? So as you get older, that's gonna look like stretch marks.
Yeah, you're
What
right
are you
about that. Yeah.
what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like what's happening? I don't know. So wild. I'm not trying to hate on anybody's journey,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
art is subjective and I'm allowed to not like art. And that
Well,
is
yeah, of
art.
course.
Bad. Bad, sis. Bad.
Well, I learned something new that you can actually send photos on Zoom.
That and you learn what cyber sigilism
Well,
is.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
it's
exactly.
you're gonna be at like a rave or something, you're gonna look over some white girl's gonna have this on her and you're gonna be like, huh, cyber sigilism. Got it. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like tribal but bad. And I have like pattern work on me and stuff. I wouldn't call it tribal though. It's like more different than that, but
No,
I don't
it
know. That's
looks good
tribal.
though. Like the
Cheers,
ink you
mate.
got on your arm, it looks really good. I like it.
Cheers, mate. I got a lot more to come. We have so many more ideas and things that we're gonna take advantage of. I could go
Oh
through the list, but
no.
it's not that exciting.
And like I was reading like growing up, and like you moved out of the states to Canada and then back to the states
I
again,
did. Where
like
did you leave? Where did you learn this? Yes, I did.
so how was that like your journey like to get where you're
Where
at now?
where I am now, my journey's long, and I was literally just explaining this to the dude who picked me up in Raleigh. He was like, "Well, so what's your story?" And I like went through. So this is fun. This is second time today I'm telling this story. If you don't mind sitting around and listening for a second.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so I like grew up in like rural Pennsylvania, and like my parents were super cool with me coming out, and but I was always like a little bit of an outcast. I was a little bit
Mhm.
weird. I like spoke my mind when I probably shouldn't have, and I like say things, and I like didn't really get along with a lot of my peers because of how like weird and othered I was, and so I was always in a fight. I was always in ISS, and I was always in like I don't know, getting in some kind of drama bullshit. I like so I met this boy on the internet on Facebook, and he lived in Canada, and he was like, "Well, you should just come live with me." And I said, "Say less." And so I worked two jobs, and I forged my mom's name on a passport signature, and then I like moved to Canada, and I sold cocaine, and he worked at Wendy's. It was super sweet. It was super cute. You know what I mean? Either way, we both got frosty. And then and then it got like weird and abusive towards the end, and he like it was like ambivalently abusive, and it wasn't just like me first like getting hit on. It was like also me fighting back and hitting him. It was just like back and forth. But I was 16 and he was like 21, and we were just like young dumb kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it like I remember choking him out in the middle of a Dollar General, and like then like him like and then like going. I know it sounds funny, like whatever, but like then like going out to the parking lot, and like him being like, "That's over, we're done." And this is like the middle of St. John's, Newfoundland, and I was like on an island by myself. He's like, "You have to move out immediately," and I like had like this seizure out of like sheer panic because I was like,
oh my god.
I was like, I have nowhere to go. So I was just like this sheer panic of like, and I like collapsed on the floor. I got taken to the hospital, and then like in the hospital, they were just kind of like, "You're not supposed to be in Canada for this long, fam." And I was like, "Okay, leaving immediately," because like kicked out of there, kicked out of Canada, basically all together. And then
Damn.
and then I like got back to like Pennsylvania. I put myself through bartender school. I try to like get back to school, finish that up. Um then like when I was started bartending that summer, I met my mentor, and he was like, "You're really smart. You need to go to school. You can't hold yourself back." And I was always writing, and this entire time, and he was like, "Go to school for writing. You're going to be a great writer. Go." And I had this idea that I was like going to entertain in some way. I was like, I had this idea that I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live, but I'm not
Oh, okay.
that good at like improv. And so I went to school for screenwriting, but that was just paying a lot of money for. I went to Point Park University. Screenwriting, paid a lot of money to go watch movies. So I switched to journalism. That just depressed the shit out of me because I thought like, oh well, maybe I'll just write for the news for SNL. But like reading about the news is so depressing.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And then so I switched to, and all this time I was like doing improv troops, and I was like trying my hand at like stand up and like all these different forms of like entertainment. Eventually, like because I got so depressed, I started playing guitar, and then I started like I switched my major over to poetry because I'm a sensitive baby, and I started like instead of like reading about how depressed I was like writing it down, and it felt so good
Yeah.
to like pour it out. And then I was like playing like these little underground shows around Pittsburgh, and I was like reading about like Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg, and I was reading about Bob Dylan. I was listening to Bob Dylan and Stevie Nicks, these people that I look up
Oh,
to this day.
nice.
And I was
Nice.
just like, I want to go find out what those people found out because they didn't go to school for poetry. You don't need to go to school to be an artist. So I was like, I'm gonna go do what they did. So I packed up my car and I took off for the road, and I lived out of my car for like a year to a year and a half to 2 years or something. And then like I traveled all across the United States. I was like writing poetry, playing guitar, town to town. I relearned how to play guitar because I like played like when I was younger, but never kept up with it. And I relearned how to play from like the other people busking on the street, from the other homeless people who are trying to survive, and like this sense of like finding yourself and finding like um you're an artistry and your voice is an artist, because that's what I left for. I wanted that punctuation more than I wanted anything else. I wanted to be able to stand firmly with what I'm saying and not just be like one of these people who pays their way through Hollywood to get like one hit single or something. No. You're an artist. You should have a statement. If you're an artist, you should make a claim and you should be able to stand behind that claim. You know what I mean? For who you are.
Yeah,
and that's what I wanted. And so eventually my car broke down in Denver. And I started stripping, and that was like my first like tease with like finding my sexuality, my power through my sexuality, which is super cool. And then paid off my car, started living in Denver in my friend's basement that I called the Dragon's Lair. And because like Denver, you're smoking weed all the time, so as soon as you would open the door,
oh my god, that is so it's the Dragons. All right, that's so awesome. I like that.
Like especially because like I would come home at like, as a stripper, you come home at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then like everyone's in there just so high. You just open the door and just. I miss those days were so funny, and I was like, this is selfish. I hate this. Let me get back to school, but I can't afford to go to school because my school was in Pittsburgh. I guess I could go online, but I was like, I also don't want to strip forever. And I felt very like sex work is very selfish. You're not doing anything for anybody but yourself. Sorry, you're helping these people bust nuts, but guess what? They can find anywhere to bust a nut. Sorry, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Whatever. So I got a job working for the AmeriCorps, and I moved out to California, and I worked for the Pacific Crest Trail Association, where wildfires destroyed the hiking trails of the PCT. My crew would hike in from like 8 to 11 days, and we would clean up the trail.
Wow.
We did like it was a lot of construction and manual labor, like literally no power tools, all rock bars. And if you don't know what a rock bar is, Google it, because it's these huge bars, and then you shove them in the mountain. You like are hoisting these rocks out, and then you're quarrying them to the spot, and you're building like stairs out of them, and you're building like support walls out of them, and like it's like all just, and you work with crush, you work with dirt. It's all just hands in the earth. We compared it a lot to the movie Holes. Have you ever watched Holes?
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of hiking with heavy bars, and like you're camping in the woods for like 8 to 11 days with like the same people, because they're all in your crew. And so what would happen is, because I'm a musician and like all these guys are obviously, I would like bring my guitar, and then they would like bring their instruments, and we'd like form this little band. And so we would practice in the woods, and then when we got back to town, we would go and play at like the Classic Q, and we had a residency there in South Lake Tahoe for a while. That was super fun. That was like probably my favorite summer I've ever had. Those are the closest friends I've ever had, because you're in the woods with those guys for like 8 to 11 days. You can't use your phone because you have no service. All you have is each other, and you're working together all day, and you play music all night together. And I miss those days. Those guys that formed like this shape of like community that I have, I think, in myself. And I got a little too big for my bridges. So then I was like, I'm gonna go to New York. I found myself as a writer. I found myself as a musician. I can do it. And as soon as I moved to New York, and as soon as I got to New York chewed me up and spit me out. It was
that's what it usually does.
Especially as like a 20 something, I think it was like 20 years old, 21-year-old white guy moving with a guitar to New York City. Says you ain't gonna change nothing. You know what I mean? Sit down, shut up. You are not changing shit. But back then I needed to do it. It was like this like rite of passage. I felt like it was like, you know what I mean? I felt very connected to like very connected to Dylan at the time. Like, and I would like play in Chelsea. That's like I remember like at this bar that I used to play at in Chelsea. I forget the name of it, but there was this huge portrait of Bob Dylan on the wall, sitting at the piano that was sat out front of on the stage. And I was like, it was like this like thing that like you were in the right spot, even though you're like fighting for your life and you had no money and you're busting tables and you're losing your voice from playing in the subway and like all this stuff. You're like, I need to do it. And it's like this sense of like drive in your own artistry that I was like, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. This has to happen. And like, eventually, because winter was coming and I was like, this is disgusting. I can't survive being homeless in New York City. I was like sharing a room with like 6 other guys too when I couldn't afford a room. It was not cute. So because I had that job working for the AmeriCorps, I got a job working down in Florida with the Red Cross, with the we're the Be Ready Alliance coordinator for emergencies. And at this time, sorry to the Be Ready Alliance and sorry to the Red Cross, I did not do anything at that desk job. I didn't do anything. I sat there and did all the rest of my schoolwork to get my degree, and that's it. I would go into work and be like, my boss's name was Janet, be like, hi, Janet. And I would go behind my cubicle and just be like, anyway, chapter 4. Like, never called, my phone would ring, I'd be like this.
Oh my God.
I
love it.
never talked to anybody at that job. I was there for like 4 to 5 months. I didn't do a thing. In meetings, they were like, hey, did you, I'm like, oh yeah, I got around to it. Don't worry. Nothing got done. Nothing got done. I'm so sorry to the Red Cross. I'm so sorry to everybody there. That's so bad. But like, think about it. Think about it. So I was in Pensacola, Florida, because I moved from New York to Pensacola to work for the Red Cross.
Okay.
Pensacola is a paradise. You go outside, it is white sand beaches. It is palm trees. It is, you can go to water in the ocean here, look down, and you can see your feet. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Wow. Pensacola is one of the most beautiful. It's on the Gulf of Mexico, so the water is calm. It doesn't, you know what I mean? There's like, it's so tranquil there. It is paradise. And like, you're having me sit in a cubicle? Mom, think again. Think again. You got the wrong one. And so that's why I just was like, I'm just gonna go here, do some schoolwork for like 4 hours, whatever. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna go to lunch and never come back. You know what I mean? Like, God. That was my vibe. I don't know. And eventually, as soon as I graduated, like I remember getting like emails like, congratulations, you blah blah blah. I like just left. I never came back to that job. I sent them an email, I was like, I'm not coming back. That was basically it. And then and I like started bartending down at the beach and was vibing, hanging out, whatever. Of course, playing music downtown, doing all this stuff. And then the mentor who helped me get into school and helped me, I could message him during this entire time. I was always able to message him. He is no longer with us. And so I kind of, at that time, spiraled and was like, I should reach out to people who are important to me. So I reached out to my mom and I was like, I miss you. What's up? And she was like, we miss you too. Come home. And I was like, all right, cool. So like, I packed up my stuff and I moved back home to Pennsylvania. And then I started bartending around home, but then that only lasted for like a month or two. And then the pandemic struck. So I was like, then forced to become best friends with my mom and dad in this weird like way. You know what I mean? It was like this weird like Roosevelt. I don't know, but it was like cool because like they respected the person I was now, and like they never had a problem with who I was when I was a kid. They just had a problem with how I was in school, and I was so bad in school. You know, like that's the only thing. My mom and dad like loved me to pieces, but that was really cool. And at the time, I started like posting yoga stuff, and over the quarantine, the gym near my house was open. So I was like lifting a lot and my body changed because I had nothing else to do to like, but like lift. And then people would reach out to me and be like, hey, we want to take your picture. Can you know what I mean? Like, cause I'm like close to Philadelphia. So I just like drive to Philadelphia, drive to DC and like take whatever, you know what I mean? And then, because I'm making music around the house, my mom was like, oh, you're really good at this. You should go to school for this, because my mom's a teacher. And I was like, okay, well, if you send my stuff out, I'll do whatever. And then she sent my stuff out to like different schools around the world, and I heard back from Paul McCartney's Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts,
Really?
and I got like a little audition over Zoom, and then over Zoom I'm sitting there and they're asking me like questions like, can you play this G flat major blah blah blah, like all these like technical music theory
Oh yeah.
questions. And I was like, no. They asked me like 12 questions like that, and every single one I was like, mm-mm. No. And then eventually I swear to God the dude goes, so like what can you do? That was like my favorite part, because like I love shit like that. That's like low key or read, but it's like they're trying to be because they're English. You know what I mean? It's like,
Well, yeah, of course, yeah.
So they're like chronically polite. So that was like my favorite part. They were just like, so like, what can you do?
Oh my god.
And I was like, I can play you like 2 songs, and they're like, okay.
You can
So
play like 2 songs.
So I like picked up my guitar and I sat there and I played them. I think I played them the acoustic version of my song Freak, and I played them this one song called Something Great. And
Okay.
then that was it. And then they were like, okay, cool. Thanks so much. And they hung up, and I didn't hear back from them for like 2 months. And then I got an email. No, not an email. I got something in the mail that said, congratulations, you made it to the school.
Really?
I didn't even think they liked me. And then I was like, okay, well, how am I gonna pay to go this really? It's like they only accept 4% of people at this school. It's like stupid. It's like stupid.
Oh my god.
And I was like, how am I gonna afford to go to this really prestigious art school overseas?
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, okay, let's start OnlyFans. You know, I'm already doing all this modeling stuff. People,
Yeah.
I'm building this like weird following. And from doing OnlyFans and sex work, it kind of like skyrocketed in like this weird way. And I was able to pay off my tuition for the school in the first month of doing OnlyFans. Isn't that stupid? Wow. Isn't that stupid?
You made that much money in your first month?
It was stupid. I'm still mad about it because I don't even make that much today. You know what I mean? But like, and then and then eventually I like built up, because you know, I got accepted in like February, so I had like a whole year to like do OnlyFans work, and like I was like traveling around the world, like modeling, doing all this stuff, building up a nice brand for myself. And I get to this school. I moved to the UK in September, and I get to this school, and then like I'm like 25 at this point. I'm surrounded by like 18-year-old privileged fucks from across Europe. Sorry to anybody going to Lipa, love you to pieces, but like, I don't know. I was like, we are not the same, sis. We are not the same. First of all, I sold my body to be here. You know what I mean? Y'all parents pay for you to be here. Like, we're not the same. Don't look at me. You know what I mean? Don't think about it. And then like, I don't know. It was just not that kind of structure. First of all, we learned I'm not good at school. So like, I don't know why that happened. But like, I remember like, I was closer in age to my one professor than I was to my peers. My one professor was like 28.
Oh,
so
wow.
I would go out and see like to the Wind Factory, because this is in Liverpool. I would go out to like the Wind Factory and like see like a bass show or something. And I look over and my professor's like 2 rows away from me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I like walk over and be like, what up? And he was like, what's up? And we became like friends. It was stupid. And then like I would go back to like class like 2 days later and be like, yo, caribou on Thursday. He's like, caribou. It was like it was just so like, it was dumb. It was just, and eventually like I sat him down. He could tell like at this school, like my energy was just not there.
Yeah.
And like I sat down before class, and like I was always like working ahead of everybody, because like I wouldn't even be paying attention to like the conversation, like stupid questions that these 18-year-olds were asking. I was like, they would like give the lecture, I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go do that. And I would like sit there with my headphones on and do it, whatever. And then like, I remember one day before class, I got there early because he was my friend, and like I think I like brought him like coffee or something, and he was just like, you know, you don't need to be here, right? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, dude. He said in his London accent, he was like, mate, you have the talent. You just need to come here, and you just need to figure it out. You know, you just needed to find the confidence in yourself. And I was like, word. And he was like, you don't need to be here. And for someone at that school who's a professor at that school to tell me You don't need to be here. He's like, you need to go to somewhere like Berlin, London, LA, Austin, New York, and like just sell yourself. He's like, you got it. You just need the confidence to go do it. I was like, say less, Mary. I went right to the registrar's. I went right to the registrar's office. I said, y'all lied to me. Y'all bamboozled me. Y'all hoodwinked. I turned into Alyssa Edwards. I was like, y'all hoodwinked me. Y'all pulled the badge on me. You know what I mean? I went full Alyssa Edwards on them. And then they were like, oh, we're okay, here's all your money back. They gave me, because they're chronically polite. English people. They gave me all my money back, but I already paid for my apartment.
God, really?
But I already paid for my apartment for the whole year there. So I was stuck in the UK at this apartment. But I like use that time to travel around Europe, model around Europe, you know, have a boyfriend in London, whatever,
Nice.
Make some pop music. And then I was like, all right, well, let's take his advice, and I moved back to the States. I never lived in the like South, so I moved to Texas from the UK, because like what's the complete opposite of the UK, United Kingdom? Texas. You know what I mean? It's like the complete 180. And
well,
so like
they say everything is bigger in Texas, right? Is that true?
I guess. I don't know. I don't know about that. I moved to Austin, so I don't know. Like here, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I like living in Austin. The last summer in Austin was such an introverted time. I lived in that apartment like Leonardo da Vinci, where you could not touch me. I remember sitting there at my studio, did nothing but make music, blah, 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 blah. And I would look up and it'd be like 9 hours later. I'd be like, okay, okay. Or like, I'd be like, maybe you should eat today. Like, it was like that kind of like environment where I was like really trying to like figure stuff out. And I produced and put out a new song like every 2 weeks that summer. Like every 2 weeks, I was like, let's keep pumping them out. Pump. Some of those songs are like not great. They're not bad, but like it definitely shaped, like taught me a lot about like,
yeah.
I was just like obsessed about making pop music for some reason. I was like, there's a structure here that I want to learn about. There's like this thing, and it worked. I got on that TV show last summer.
Okay.
And then from that TV show, I played Heart WeHo, and then from there, I had a nice little show in Puerto Vallarta that I did for a few months, and then I signed to management. Shout out to Ryan Colby. And then I had like a little East Coast tour, playing music down the East Coast as I got my car to Texas. And then I did modeling gigs across Europe again. I went back to that. And this time I was getting paid for them, which is super cool. And then
nice.
Then I wrote then I spent a few months writing and compiling, because everywhere I went, I wrote poetry. Everywhere I went, I wrote music and poetry, blah, blah, blah. And so I have like 6 books of original poetry written. And I started like typing them out just like, so I have them on like a file. I was like, oh, this could be a book. So I spent the next 2 months like writing my book, Made for This, which is the name of this book, coming out soon. And then my lease was up in Austin because I was like never there. And I was like, I'm not going to renew my lease in Austin. It's stupid. And I kind of like miss my parents' house, and I haven't like been home on the East Coast for a while. So I got back to the East Coast, and I'm kind of like living between New York and my parents' house in Philadelphia right now. Because like my friend lets me live on his couch in Harlem whenever I want, which is super cool. And like
nice.
And since I like been back home, I also started. I just recently was seeing this dude who broke my heart, so I wrote a whole album, because that's how I get over things. Because I'm an artist, and sometimes you let it out. And I was just tired of like also making pop music. So when I was in last fall, I kind of had like a mental breakdown about the state of like OnlyFans and how I'm only seen as like this sex thing, and like because when you only do sex work all the time, that's how you're seen. You know what I mean? You talk
of course.
Oprah says you teach people how to treat you, right? So I taught the audience that I'm just a sex toy that they can throw away at the end of the day, which is not true. I'm an artist. And so I wrote, my last album was called What Is Love, which is what I toured across the East Coast. And this next album is called The Makings of an Outcast. And that was all, since for the last year, I've just been making like pop rock and pop music. This album is straight classic rock. It is, since I was like typing all these things, like these poems that I wrote over the years.
Yeah.
This album is kind of like, and I was just broken up with, this is kind of like a little love letter to myself of like that 18-year-old person who ran away. I was like, who looked up to Stevie Nicks, who looked up to Bob Dylan. I was like, let's make the album of that boy's dreams. Let's make that guy's album that he wants. And they're making of the outcast, The Makings of an Outcast was born. This next album.
So this is more like classic rock than pop.
I guess it's very yeah, I guess so. It has different, like the track list is right here. I was literally just listening to it before you even called because I was like, double check it. We have Let There Be Light, which is kind of like the jump, the leap of faith that, you know what I mean? It's a prayer before you take a leap of faith is like the idea of let there be light. The first thing God ever said was a prayer, let there be light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If anything.
Yeah.
And then the second song is Letting Go, which is the idea. It's like sometimes when you're on the road, you have to just allow yourself to be. You can't, what should come, what should go, should go. You know, so allow yourself to go. And Ram Dass also has that great quote, real faith is letting go. And so, you know, when you have faith in something, you don't need to cling on to it. You don't have to cling on to it because you know it. No, faith is letting go because you know it's going to catch you. You know, that's faith. And so the idea there is you have to let go. The third song is Gypsy. A little shout out to my badass Gypsy roots, which I love because, like, you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
And then then we have the song Something Sweet, which is like a little, when you're chasing your artistry, you oftentimes miss out on a chance of love. And so the idea of like, the song is basically like, well, here's something sweet to get by, you know, just if you got, you know, I'm not going to be there tonight, so here's something sweet for the meantime. We have Madison Square Garden, which is a shout out to me being broken up with in Madison Square Garden's subway station from the studio, like literally like 3 weeks ago, he broke up with me. And then like, so the lyrics are broken hearted in Madison Square Garden, broken hearted in Madison Square, if you care. Because the idea there is I will eventually be singing that song in Madison Square Garden.
I love
so like,
it.
you know what I mean? So the idea there is like, we went from being a sewer rat broken up with to, well, if you care now, bitch, guess what? I don't, you know what I mean? That's the idea. Broken hearted. But also if you like, have you watched The Midnight Gospel with Duncan Trussell? The idea is
it good?
So good. But one of the last episodes is to break open your heart is to allow yourself to be vulnerable, which is kind of like the idea. It's like, allow yourself to be open to whatever should come. But breaking your heart is scary, but necessary. You know, you don't say that you go to love, you say you fall. And sometimes falling hurts. You know what I mean? That's the idea. But that's all. And then trying to go down the track list. Then we have the story is never over, which is a little meta song, kind of just like be like, just so you hoes know, I'm never gonna be done with this. You know what I mean? Just so you hoes know, it's never gonna end. I have unlimited ammo. This will just keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. The story's never over. And then we have the title track, The Outcast, which is the lyrics are, they call me the outcast. They said that I wouldn't last, but I made it this far, just strumming my guitar, you know? And so it's just like this little love song, love shout. That's probably like the heart of it, you know? The lyrics are, I may be the last Rolling Stone, might have baggage that no one wants. You know, just these little like love, these things that I love about myself that people said were like, what the thing that made me other. I'm like, yeah, but those things made me me. Those things are what I am.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I am the outcast. I'm a little bird. I might be the last Rolling Stone. These are the things that I am. So like whatever. And then that it? No, and then we have a cover of "Leaving on a Jet Plane" by
Oh, sweet.
Peter, Paul, and Mary, just because it fits the bill.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
And I think that's the album so far. I might include the song "Something Great" just because that is a really I've sing that song all the time, and it was on an old album that I deleted off of Spotify, and I kind of want to redo it. And so that song might make a comeback. I've been playing it a lot lately, so we'll see. Because I
Okay.
think to have the song "Something Sweet" and then later in the album "Something Great," I think that those two complement each
Oh
other
yeah.
really well. And plus, like the idea there is like what goes into making an outcast. Well, something sweet, something great, letting go, being a gypsy. Let there be light. You know what I mean? These things that what goes into making an outcast. This is the
I
next
really
album.
like you came up with a really good thing there. I like that. Like every title of the song, the lyrics has something to do with the name of the album.
Well, the songs came first, and and then I was just like, I gotta figure out. And like, I don't know. Here, I'll send you the album art if I can find it real
Oh
quick
yeah,
in,
okay.
in the chats. I have it somewhere on my computer. Let me look for it. So my computer is a mess. If you can only imagine, I'm a mess, so the computer is even worse.
So how do you
Um,
think of like what kind of art you want for I mean you've been doing this for a while now making songs and albums like how do you how do you think of the art like how do you know what what you want to be on the cover.
well, it has to. Sometimes most of the time it's just pictures I find on my phone.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's easy.
Um, back in the day, it used to be. I used to like overthink it so much. Back in like when I first started. God bless young me, because like if you're not growing as an artist, if you're not looking back and cringing over what you did a year ago, you're not growing at all. So like,
Yeah.
only imagine how much I cringed thinking about the stuff I was putting out when I was like, because I started putting stuff out when I was like 18. When I first got that guitar,
Hmm.
I was like sitting in my room in Pittsburgh, and I remember like the first album I wrote was called Cool Blue, which is so like okay, whatever. But like, I don't know why I needed to make it. It was just so bad. But I just remember I needed to like do it. It was not good at all. But I also that's why I went that by different pseudonyms because I back in the day I also didn't know what kind of artist I was going to be. I didn't know
Yeah,
what kind
yeah.
of musician I was. I didn't never really did it in high school. I found this later, and I was a writer first, so that's why I was like, you can say these things. There's the album cover for the next album. I'm gonna send it
Oh,
to you.
okay.
And that's a picture of my friend Corey,
Oh,
who
nice, nice.
my friend Corey and I were walking on the beach with his dog, and I was like, Corey, don't move. They just took that picture real quick. Because the way like the sun was coming through and stuff, it was cute. So whatever. That's basically it. And I think after editing it a little bit, it fits the brief really well. It's like a little storybook cover too.
Are are you a big fan of the beach?
No, I hate it. Yes, I
Oh,
love the beach. What do you mean? I lived on the beach. I live in Pensacola. What do you mean? No, I hate it. It's the worst thing in the entire world. Of course I like the beach. What the hell?
and well, like, what do you? Because you've done like you like being outside, so you've done the hiking, the beach. Like,
I'm a
which
big
one
outdoors
would you
person.
choose more? You think which one do you like a little bit more, the beach or like hiking and camping?
I like it depends on the vibe. I go with vibes. I like to camp. I like the beach. I don't know. I like to camp on the beach. It is what it
Oh,
is. You know
okay,
what I
there you
mean?
go.
Either I don't know. Like when I used to live in Pensacola, we would like take our tents down to past Portofino. If you know
Mhm.
Pensacola, there's these big towers at the end of the Gulf Breeze, where if you go past them, it's a lot of like deserted sand and stuff where nobody really
Oh,
goes,
okay.
but like locals go. And then like there's like this bank back there, and people tend to camp on this little bank by the water. We used to do that sometimes. It was
Oh,
cool.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
whatever.
He's like, whatever. Uh, is there like out of all the songs you've written a lot of songs. Like, is there any song that means the most to you? Like one song that means the most to you, or is it like all of
No,
them?
no, it's silly. I love all of my songs. That's why I wrote them. No, I don't have one that stands out. I mean, like, if I have like, no, no, it all depends on the vibes. You can't choose a favorite
Okay.
kid. That's
Well,
silly.
like
You can't choose a
you
favorite kid.
you know how like a lot of people that sing artists, like a lot of artists have that one hit song that everyone loves and sings along to,
Yeah,
and
but that's not the
they
artist's favorite
they
song.
they know that it's like their song that the crowd wants to hear.
I guess. Maybe, maybe you need to go to more shows, fam. Maybe. I guess. I don't know if I have that one. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe that's gonna be on the next album.
Hey, yeah,
Because at the same
exactly. You never
time,
know.
I'm also a realist. So like I'm nobody right now. You know what I mean? I'm not signed to a record label. I'm barely signed to modeling management. You know what I mean? Like I know my artist where my artists realize I'm very self-aware.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, I'm my own biggest fan. I love what I make.
Yeah, yeah.
I was sitting here listening to my own stuff before you called. I listened to my stuff at the gym. This album's not even gym stuff that you should listen to at the gym, but I listen to it at the gym because and living for myself, absolutely living. And I
Exactly.
think that's the key. I think if you love what you do,
Hmm.
then the audience will love what you do. I think
Definitely.
that's the key
Definitely.
to being successful as an artist, and not being jaded too. Because I find a lot of artists as they get older, especially,
Hmm.
like I also paint. So
Yeah.
like I just started painting. This is a recent development. I just started painting because when I was on tour in January, I went to see a tarot card reader slash like chip slash like whatever. I don't even psychic in New
Yeah.
Orleans. And I was just like, I hate sex work. I don't want to do it no more. What do I do? Because I like with the baby, I was like, I hate doing OnlyFans. I don't know what to do. And she was just like, you need to paint. You need to paint.
Really?
That's literally, she was like, you need to go paint. And then she said, and see a therapist. Like
Oh
the
my
same breath,
God.
which is so, again, such a read, but like subtly. And I love shit like that where it's like they're helping you, but not. They're like, you need to paint
And see a
and go
therapist.
see a therapist. So funny. At least because at the time, like I was sitting there like, okay. But like looking back at it now, it's so funny for a psychic to tell you to go see a therapist. Anyway,
Yeah, but she put that thought in your head to paint. So if it wasn't for her, you might have not even painted.
dude, I know. And here, I'll send you some paintings in the chat too. The
I
paintings,
I I saw some of your paintings on your page.
yeah, I'm really
Like you're really good at that.
thank you. Oh
Yeah,
man, dude, I just sold 3 this last weekend.
really, that's awesome.
Which like what? You know what I mean? Like that's nutty. That is
That's really
so
good.
wild. Where anything like Van Gogh didn't sell a single painting his whole life. I just sold 3.
I know,
Bro, I
right?
just beat that whore out. Like, uh, sorry, you know, Van Gogh home, bitch. But like, I, I'm so, but like, I just think it's fun. That's it. Like, I'm having fun, like painting. Like I was saying
Yeah.
earlier, I'm having fun doing it, and I think it's showing in the painting. And like, I go and talk. Like, I was just in Provincetown. I was like talking to these other artists, these who've been there forever, who've done it, whatever. You can tell they're kind of like jaded and like pretentious. Sorry to the people. Not if you're an artist in Provincetown, I'm not talking about you, but I'm totally talking about all of them. You know what I mean? It's just like this idea. It's like, but not you guys, not the ones listening to this. You guys are cool, but maybe. But like, these guys, like, I was showing like this one lady, like I brought my best friend Beef because he was able to like, we would like leave these places like they were mean, right? And he'd be like, so mean. But like, um, we were like, I would like go and be like, oh yeah, I just started painting like 2 months ago. You want to see some of my stuff? And like the way this one lady literally went,
Oh my
like, it was just
God.
like it was a burden to look. You know what I mean? Like, girl, you were sitting back there eating the tuna sandwich before we even walked in. What are you talking? What do you mean? Like, you can look at this painting for 2 seconds, and then like
You're eating a tuna sandwich.
we don't know what you were doing. I just know you were sitting back there. She's probably doing herself or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
she
like,
probably was.
but then like this other artist, like this older lady, we like came in, we showed her myself. She's like, "You're so good. How long have you been doing it?" I was like, 2 months. She was like, "Oh," and then eventually it turned to it went from "Your work is so good" to, "Well, you know, if you took my class, you wouldn't be so mediocre."
Oh my God.
Because
You serious?
if I would have told this woman I was painting for 12 plus years, you know what I mean? She'd probably be like, "Oh, it's gorgeous, baby."
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, exactly.
but it's the pretension. It's the pretension for me. It's, you know what I mean? It's something like that where I don't know what it is, but I think people. I don't know. That was a fun. And then like I went out and sold three
Wow.
paintings that weekend, and I was just like, can you make it make sense? Can someone make it make sense? Like, you know. So what I think I gotta start doing is start telling people I've been painting for 10, 12 years, and then they'll start
That's
listening to me.
exactly what you should do, because then they won't say something like that again.
But I think as you get older as an artist, it's so easy to get jaded. I also think to be a creative, to be an artist, you have to have a sense of like, I don't know, there's something in you that you covet almost. That you're like, I need to do it
Mhm.
because I see it myself too. Where like when I start writing an album, I'm like, it has to be perfect. And you know what I mean? It has like there's like this like sense of like, but guess what? It's never gonna be perfect. It's never. It just is what it is, Mary, and it will never be perfect. You know what I mean? And I remember like in arts, in music school, the one lesson I
Yeah.
did really like was delete your art. Delete
Okay.
your art, because you know what? If you wrote it once, you can write it again. If you play, because that's music. You know, you can play a song over and over and over and over and over again, and every time it's gonna be different. There's
Well,
no,
yeah.
you know what I mean? You always hear people being like, "Oh, but that Whitney song that she did that concert in 1980, blah blah blah. That was it. That was the best thing." The you know, you always hear people being like, "Oh, the record doesn't do her justice at all."
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Everyone has a different opinion about art. There's no
Hmm.
such thing as the perfect piece of art.
You're
You
right.
know,
You're
there's
right.
no such thing. Just put it down. Because if you put this song down and then like you send it out to the universe, guess what? 20 years later, someone else is going to redo it or
You're
something. You
right.
know, like Bob Dylan wrote House of the Rising Sun. 20
Yes.
years 20 years later, the Animals picked it up. Bob Dylan wrote Make You Feel My Love. 40 years later, Adele picked it up. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Someone's going to pick it up eventually. You know, that's the artistic conversation. That is the poetic conversation that we're having as artists. You know, I see what you've done. Let me do it. My whole album,
Exactly.
What is Love, is a conversation with Stevie Nicks, where she wrote the song Landslide.
Yes.
Her song Landslide says, "Mirror in the sky, what is love?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Bitch, let's have that conversation. Let's have that conversation right now." Where I literally was like, it's where you're at your wits end, where she's literally sitting there asking the heaven above angels, "What
Mhm.
is it?" And they're saying back, "Girl, we don't know." You know what I mean? No one knows. And then so like that's the whole point of that last album is I have the song "What Is Love," as that changes, you know, as the changes come, will I still have that? Stevie sings that in her song too. Um, well, I've been afraid of changing,
Yeah.
you know, and then so that next song is "Thinking About You." It's the idea of like the last time I was in love. Well, I wrote
Okay.
that, and then "Surrender." You know, the idea of falling, allowing yourself to let go into what should come. That's the last album. But yeah, it's all about a poetic conversation. As an artist, you have to recognize and then move on.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of artists get jaded because they want to. It's ego. They want to like. They want their voice to be to make the difference. They want to stand out, but once you realize that you're not alone, that's the point of the conversation. You know what I mean? You are contributing to that person's artwork as much as they're contributing to yours. Because if you understand that I wrote this for them and they wrote this because of that, and then blah, 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 it's all a network. You're not standing out. You're not alone. You're not alone here. You're making art for the many. And why would you not want that to be joyful? Why would you not want to bring a sense of, I don't know, like, sometimes, I don't know. People just get jaded, I guess. I'm not that way. Maybe that's privilege. I don't know. Maybe that's a sense of privilege. Maybe I come from like this idea. It's like, I don't know. Because people have different lives and I don't want to like put people in a box. I'm so sorry if you hear that. I'm sorry if you're jaded. I'm sure that you have a valid reason. I don't know. I don't want this to come off as a privileged ass wipe.
I'm a big fan of Stevie Nicks too. Like I always say, because like she doesn't age. Like she looks amazing still, and she's Wiccan. So I'm like, I wonder if she did any like witchcraft to look like that.
She's the white witch, huh?
Yeah.
We love a little witchcraft here and there.
Right. and and I'm a big horror guy, as you can see, with Chucky in the back. And I always like asking my guests this, like, are there any horror films that you like watching?
No, I'm not a horror fan. I don't like creepy stuff. The last horror I like, you know what I mean? I like, when I say Halloween, I mean like spooky, scary skeletons with shivers down your spine. I don't want to see the Saw franchise. I want to see like the Corpse Bride. You know what I mean? That's fun.
Yeah.
I like stuff like that. I don't like seeing gore. I don't like seeing people ripped up. I start crying. Like I'll start. Last time I saw, like, what was the movie I saw where I started crying? Was it Insidious? I remember like
those are scary, those movies.
Oh, Smile. During
Oh
Smile,
yeah.
I cried like a baby in Smile, and people were like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like, "This movie so much. How are you guys not crying?" I don't like stuff like that because it makes me cry. Because I'm a sensitive person. You know what I mean? I get overwhelmed easy. I know I come off tough and like whatever, and I'm having a good day today. But like I cry super easy. This is the same reason I can't watch like Black Mirror. Do you watch Black Mirror?
Yes.
I will cry and over that show, and then people would be like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, over the state of humanity, and like it's like the dumbest thing. And I don't want to. I'm such a baby. I am. I can't help it.
Nah, hey, there's a lot of people that are like that. I mean, especially with like horror films. Like a lot of people can't handle horror films because it's like so much being thrown.
No, it's so much, and also like so sinister and so like why like I don't know. I guess there is evil in the world, and that's what it like depicts and whatever. But like, I don't like to glamorize that. I don't want to glamorize. Call me Oscar Wilde. Beautiful things are beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then again, beauty's all in the eye of the beholder. Let it be known. You like horror movies. That's great.
And, so before I end it, like I want to give you a chance to plug all your stuff coming out, like your book, your new album, modeling, like anything new that's coming out for you.
Check it. You can follow me on all what's it called? Social medias at XO period DEMILO. You can find me on Spotify at Demilo. You can buy my new book coming out, Made for This. Coming probably this Virgo season after I edited it and all that, whatever. And then the new album, I'm trying to get it out by Leo season. I would love to be the center of the world. I would love the singles to start dropping in Leo season, and I would love the album itself to be out on Amy Winehouse's birthday, which is September 14th. Okay. And I would love, and then you can go find my paintings on my social medias. I'm trying to build a website for it, but I don't understand Squarespace. So if you know how to use Squarespace, also hit a girl up because I don't understand how to use Squarespace at all. And if you want to hit me up for modeling, I'm also, or a go-go dancer. I love all those things. That's basically it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this. It was really fun talking to you again, and thanks again for this.
God. Oh my God, thank you. I hope that this one actually airs.
It will. It will.
Not to call you out, but guys, if you don't know, we interviewed a while ago, and somebody never posted the interview. But it's fine.
It will, I promise.
Cool. Perfect.
Right. Well, definitely have a great. It's Saturday, right? Yeah, definitely have a great weekend.
Yeah, I'm go-go dancing tonight and tomorrow at this 2-day birthday party. So pray for me.
Wow, that's a lot of dancing.
It's a lot. Let me tell you, over New York City Pride, because I go dance Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I lost 12 pounds.
Well, yeah, dancing does that to you.
Dancing, drugs, and no eating. It was wild. Not me losing 12 pounds over Pride. Hello? Anyway.
Right. Well, right. Well, again, thank you for doing this, and I will send you the link when it's up.
Period. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.